Hello students, now we shall discuss how the vascular bundles or the conducting tissue which we studied happens to be xylem and phloem, how it is present inside the plant, what is their location and what are the types in which these xylem and phloem would be present. Now we have to pay attention to two different terms which are associated with xylem and phloem. In the previous lecture which you might have seen, we saw that xylem has 4 types of cells, and on basis of the types of those cells we have further 2 classifications of xylem and phloem. One is protoxylem and other is metaxylem. Proto, as you know, prototype, or somewhere else we use it, protozoa, something which is primitive, that means which is formed in the beginning. So the xylem which is formed in the beginning from the primary meristem would have certain characteristic features which would not be present in the later on formed xylem, that is the vessels and the tracheids which would be formed in the protoxylem, they would be having scaliform thickenings or annular thickenings, and in the metaxylem more of vessels would be present with pits along with the tracheids. So that is the basic difference between protoxylem and metaxylem, and what you need to remember is that the protoxylem is the first formed xylem and the metaxylem is the xylem which is formed when the plant has taken few strides in the steps of growth. Now then we have protophlloem and metaphlloem. Now what is the basic difference between protophlloem and metaphlloem, apart from the one that one is being formed earlier and other is being formed later on? The main difference is that the lumen of the sieve tube elements is smaller in case of protophlloem, while in case of metaphlloem the lumen would be larger, because as the plant would grow, you might know that it is going to form more of food material, it would need more conduction. So that is why the lumen increases, and in case of metaphlloem and in case of metaxylem, the tracheids are replaced more by the vessels which are in contact with the tracheids itself. So that is one clear-cut distinction in the types of xylem and phloem in terms of growth. Now how these xylem and phloem are present inside the plant, that particular thing is covered under vascular bundles. When I talk about vascular bundles, that means something related to conduction comes under vascular, that means that would be xylem and phloem, and bundles, that means it would be present in association with each other, that means xylem and phloem are present in close proximity to each other and instead they form vascular bundles that are present in the plant. Now this vascular bundle is derived from procambium. Now what is this procambium? Procambium is the protoderm that was responsible for formation of the vascular tissue. What tissues are being formed? Xylem and phloem are being formed. How they are arranged? On basis of that we have 2 different types of vascular bundles. First is the radial vascular bundle and the second is conjoint. Whenever I talk of radial vascular bundle, first thing that we need to remember is that these are going to be present in roots, irrespective of the fact that whether it is a monocot root or a dicot root, the roots are going to have radial vascular bundles. Now I am going to use red color for xylem and green for phloem. So do pay attention. When we talk about radial vascular bundle, supposedly this happens to be stem, this is the stem. The xylem is going to be present on a different radius and phloem is going to be present on the different radius. Xylem over here, alternatively they would be present on different radii. So such an arrangement, that means if at this point I am talking about all the cells would be of xylem, which would be further 4 types, as you know them, what they are, 4 different types. You might revise them for remembering purpose. Over here, all the 4 types of cells. In this radii, we are going to have 4 types of cells which are present in phloem. So all of them are present on different radii, and such an arrangement of vascular bundles is known as radial vascular bundle arrangement. Now we have conjoint. Now in conjoint, whenever I am talking about, it is restricted to the stem. Conjoint has a broader classification. One is open and other is closed. When I talk about open conjoint vascular bundles, I am talking about the presence of cambium inside them. Now, what is cambium? Cambium is the secondary meristem which would later on give rise to secondary xylem and secondary phloem, and this would be responsible for the increase in girth of a plant. When I talk about closed conjoint vascular bundle, then the cambium is absent. There would be no cambium over here. Only xylem and phloem. Now let us see how a conjoint vascular bundle looks like. This is actually a paired condition. This actually is a bundled condition instead of the radial one. Suppose this is your stem, and over here we are having xylem over here. I used green for xylem only, and this is phloem. Such would be the condition when the vascular bundles would be conjoint, and so on. You see, xylem and phloem both are present together, and in case there is vascular cambium present over here, which would be responsible for secondary growth in the plant, this particular arrangement is known as open conjoint vascular bundle. Open to secondary growth. You can remember it that way. This is open conjoint vascular bundle. Phloem is present, xylem is present, and instead of a simple cambium, if the cambium is not present, then it is a closed vascular bundle. If the cambium is present, then it is an open vascular bundle. Now, this arrangement is basically on the basis of cambium, you must have noticed. Depending on whether the cambium is present, it could be conjoint open collateral, it could be conjoint open bicollateral, it could be conjoint open concentric. It could be conjoint closed for all the cases in the similar way we saw earlier. Now, collateral is one case where we have this arrangement. This is conjoint collateral, simplest one. Xylem is present inside, phloem is present outside, that means towards the periphery, that means the epidermis of the stem. In case we have xylem, phloem is present towards both the sides, then such a bundle would be known as bicollateral. That means xylem is surrounded by phloem on both the sides. That is a bicollateral bundle. It is seen in cucurbitaceae. You know pumpkin? Pumpkin would have such a bundle, bicollateral vascular bundle, which would be of course closed because pumpkin does not show any secondary growth. So you have xylem which is surrounded by phloem on both the sides towards the periphery as well as towards the pith. So such an arrangement is bicollateral. Then we have concentric arrangement. As the name suggests, it would be such an arrangement where in one case xylem would be surrounded by phloem and in another case phloem would surround the xylem. So here is the vascular bundle which happens to be concentric. If it is amphicrybal, the xylem is situated inside, means the xylem tissue I am talking about here, not a particular cell. All the tissue of xylem tissue would be inside, surrounded by phloem from every side. That means somewhat concentric ring type structure, as you can see. The phloem surrounds the xylem. In case I make it opposite, that phloem is surrounded by xylem everywhere, then that case would be amphivasal. Amphivasal, that all the xylem surrounds the phloem from every side. That is the concentric, conjoint and closed, of course, vascular bundle that is being observed. Another way of remembering it is amphi means everywhere. Okay, amphivasal, that means vessels are everywhere, that means these xylem is everywhere around the phloem. In the opposite case, phloem is everywhere around xylem. So these are the types of vascular bundles which are found in the plants. One is radial, that is exclusive to roots, whether monocot or dicot. Second is conjoint, where both the xylem and phloem would be in close association and they would be forming bundles. Thank you.